Translator. Redditor, Kurisu de Yuan. King repeatedly cupped his fists in gratitude, his words brimming with sincerity as he hastily informed Ling Han of the Ling family's present residence. In his heart, he still regarded Ling Han as a high-level black-grade alchemist, and thus believed the medicinal pills bestowed upon him must surely be extraordinary treasures. Yet after Ling Han departed, Dayuan King lifted the bottles to inspect them. The moment his gaze swept across their contents, his body jolted violently, and he nearly collapsed to the floor in shock. Heavens above! Every single pill within was of earth grade. Moreover, upon each bottle were clearly inscribed the effects and taboos in meticulous detail. Dayuan King's hands trembled uncontrollably. He had long harbored hopes of stepping into the spiritual pedestal tier. Now, with these pills in hand, that aspiration was no longer a distant dream. Emotion surged within him like a tidal wave. Looking after the Ling family had required no more than a simple gesture, yet in exchange he had received such immense fortune. Master Ling, truly a great and magnanimous man. As for Master Ling himself, he regarded such matters with utter indifference. Earth-grade medicinal pills were nothing more than commonplace trinkets to him. He refined them as casually as one might brew tea. Having repaid the favor, he immediately set off to reunite with his mother and the others, departing Dayuan City without hesitation. Heading westward, they soon arrived at a secluded and remote little town. Ling Dongxing and the others resided here. The nearer they drew, the more restless Yue Hongchang became. Her fingers repeatedly brushed the corners of her eyes and adjusted her hair, anxiety flickering within her heart. Had she aged too much? Would Ling Dongxing recognize her at a single glance? Excitement and unease intertwined within her, leaving her emotions in tumult. Upon entering the town, they halted before a spacious courtyard whose gates were tightly shut. Ling Han stepped forward and knocked. Shortly thereafter, a voice drifted from within. "Whom are you seeking?" "I am Ling Han." A dull thud sounded instantly from inside. Evidently, someone had stumbled in shock. The gates flew open as a middle-aged man stared at Ling Han with astonishment, exclaiming, "Young Master Han, you have returned." He was a servant of the Ling family. In the days when the Cheng family had nearly annihilated the Ling clan, he had managed to escape. Later, he returned to continue serving the Ling family, steadfast and loyal to the end. A smile curved upon Ling Han's lips. "I have returned." "Where is father?" "The old master is in the drawing room receiving guests," the servant replied. "What guests?" Ling Han asked casually. "A matchmaker is speaking with the old master regarding a marriage proposal," the servant answered. Yu Hongchang, who had been tense with anticipation, erupted like a volcano at those words. She strode forward swiftly and demanded, "Oh, your old master intends to take another wife?" The servant did not recognize her. Yet, seeing that she accompanied Ling Han, he dared not show disrespect. "The old master has lost his wife for many years. We servants have long hoped he might remarry, so that he would not be alone." "That is excellent. I must see this with my own eyes." Yue Hongchang's expression turned icy. With great strides, she crossed the garden, heading straight for the drawing room. The servant hurried to block her path. Guests should not behave so recklessly. Ling Han quickly caught him by the arm, smiling as he said, "Uncle Fu, you had best pray for yourself." "Young Master Han, what do you mean?" Uncle Fu asked, utterly perplexed. "That is my mother," Ling Han replied with a grin. Uncle Fu froze. Confusion clouded his thoughts. Was not young Master Han's mother the old master's wife? But had not the mistress passed away long ago? Could it be she did not die? Cold sweat broke out across his back. He had just spoken of the old master remarrying in front of the mistress herself. If she held a grudge, would that not spell disaster for him? Ling Han burst into laughter and clapped him on the shoulder. "It is nothing, truly nothing. Do not worry." "Young Master Han, do not frighten me so without warning," Uncle Fu lamented bitterly. It would be strange indeed if he were not blamed. Yu Hongchang was no such petty person, and Ling Han merely teased Uncle Fu in jest. Where else could one find such a loyal servant? Ling Han, Liu Yutong, and the others remained outside. After a short while, a woman of about 40 rushed out from the drawing room. A vivid palm print emblazoned upon her cheek. Judging by its size, it was undoubtedly Yue Hongchang's handiwork. The matchmaker must have spoken carelessly and provoked Yue Hongchang's ire. That she received only a slap rather than a shattered skull spoke volumes of Yue Hongchang's restraint and character. Faint cries echoed indistinctly from the drawing room. Ling Han stroked his chin thoughtfully and said, "Let us find lodging elsewhere for now. Father and mother likely have no time for us today." "Why?" Hu Nu asked, tilting her head in confusion. Ling Han's eyes gleamed mischievously. "They are busy being intimate." Lu Yutong and the other maidens flushed crimson, while Hu Nu looped her arms around Ling Han's neck and chirped sweetly. "Ling Han, be intimate with Nu." Ling Han retreated in immediate defeat. As expected, it was not until the afternoon of the second day that Ling Dongxing finally summoned Ling Han. Yu Hongchang nestled beside him, no trace remaining of the fierce lioness from the previous day. When father and son met, they embraced tightly, shoulders trembling as a few manly tears slipped free. After their reunion, the family conversed at length, and inevitably the topic turned to martial arts. In Yue Hongchang's view, vengeance was unnecessary. A peaceful and joyous life together as a family surpassed all else. Yet both Ling Han and Ling Dongxing burned with the desire for retribution. The enmity with Ao Feng could not be relinquished. Ling Han had deliberately crippled only Ao Feng's spirit base so that Ling Dongxing might personally end his life. "Father, your spirit base has fully recovered, has it not?" Ling Han asked. "It has." Ling Dongxing's spirit soared. Not only had his spirit base been restored, he had also touched the threshold of the gushing spring tier and would soon break through. "Ah, the alchemist you invited still resides here." So Liu Jitong had remained here all along. No wonder he had not been seen at the North Pill Pavilion. Ling Han nodded. "I have crippled Ao Feng's spirit base and slain the Ao family's elder. Father, once you step into the flower blossom tier, you may personally exact vengeance." Ling Dongxing was stunned. The Ao family's elder, a mighty spiritual infant tier expert, had been slain by his own son? Yet Ling Han would never deceive him. Laughter erupted from his chest, resounding and hearty. This son of his had achieved too much. His heart brimmed with pride. Father and son then discussed their future course. News of Ling Han acquiring the coordinates to a god's treasure trove had spread throughout the world. In the shadows, countless figures undoubtedly plotted to murder him for profit. Ling Dongxing and the others would become his Achilles' heel. Numerous forces would seek to seize them and use them as leverage against Ling Han. Thus, they resolved to relocate and conceal their identities for a time. Ling Han intended to use this period to strengthen his father and consolidate his own cultivation. His breakthrough from the spiritual pedestal tier to the flower blossom tier had been too hasty. He must stabilize his foundation lest grave flaws manifest in the future. Yo Hongchang voiced no objections. The family's reunion alone satisfied her. Her wishes were simple beyond measure. "Then we move." With a sweep of his will, Ling Han stored everyone within the Black Tower, rendering them utterly untraceable. After leaving behind a letter for Dayuan King, Ling Han rose into the skies, traversing the air as he departed Rain Country. After brief hesitation, he chose to head toward Fire Country. Crossing mountains and rivers, he arrived at a small town upon Fire Country's border, where its lands intertwined with Wind Country's territory. Baoyang Town was an unregulated domain, astonishingly impoverished and lawless. No one found it strange when unfamiliar faces appeared. Each person tended to his own meager patch of earth, minding only his own affairs. Ling Han purchased a large courtyard and released everyone from the Black Tower. The estate was spacious indeed, complete with an expansive vegetable garden. Should they raise poultry, they could nearly sustain themselves entirely. Translator, Reverie. Editor, Kurisu. At the beginning, the manor clearly held no stores of grain. Yet Ling Han possessed the Black Tower, within which ingredients were abundant beyond measure. By the time he departed in the future, the vegetable plots would already be flourishing, and no one outside would ever know precisely how many people resided here. All lived in quiet seclusion. In truth, the bleak northern lands offered little of note, for development was scarce. Thus, everyone submerged themselves wholly in cultivation. Ling Dongxin had squandered 18 long years. Now that his spirit base had been restored, a rebound was inevitable. Coupled with Ling Han's unreserved supply of spiritual medicines, beast flesh, and spiritual liquids, his cultivation speed could only be described as frenzied, bordering on madness. Ling Han intended to remain here for half a year before seeking out Yin Hong in Extreme Yang City, where they would attend whatever contest the Spirit Treasures Pavilion was hosting. At that time, he would simply alter his appearance slightly. If Yin Hong were to betray him, he would merely regard it as a lapse in his own judgment. In any case, there would be no danger to his life. This was a matter he had promised, and Ling Han was a man who would never break his word. Liu Yutong and the others advanced more slowly, at first, having just stepped into the spiritual pedestal tier. Their explosive growth phase had passed, naturally settling into stability. Moreover, unceasing explosive advancement was in fact detrimental to the path of martial cultivation. After more than 10 days of tranquil living, Yue Hongchang grew dissatisfied. What was wrong with her son? 3 peerless girls stood before him, yet he merely looked at them. What a waste! What a disgrace! The old lady issued an order. Ling Han must spend time every day accompanying the girls. Facing his mother, Ling Han could only submit. The first was Liu Yutong. The two left the manor and wandered beyond the small town. A gentle breeze brushed past. Under the descending sunset, Liu Yutong resembled carved jade bathed in evening glow. The crimson light reflected upon her face, radiating a fiery brilliance that stirred the heart. Ayo! Liu Yutong suddenly stumbled, her body tilting toward the ground. Ling Han hastily reached out and caught her. What happened? He asked. Leaning against him, Liu Yutong said in a soft, trembling voice, I twisted my ankle. Twisted her ankle? A dignified spiritual pedestal tier cultivator twisting her ankle while walking? Ling Han instantly understood. She was acting. Yet did he have the heart to expose her? The hardest thing in the world to withstand was a beauty's affection. Thus, he could only feign ignorance. Then let's head back, he said. Yes! Liu Yutong nodded, nestling into his embrace. Breathing in the potent masculine aura emanating from him, she nearly fainted, her mind on the verge of bursting. Unable to harbor any other thoughts. With every step, it felt as though she walked upon clouds, weightless and drifting. Her cheeks grew redder by the moment, her beauty surpassing even before. As they walked, she gathered her courage and wrapped her arms around Ling Han's waist, pressing her head tightly against his chest. An overwhelming sense of happiness surged forth, and she wished this path would never end. Yet in the end, they returned home. When Ling Han released her, Liu Yutong was so embarrassed that she fled at once, causing Ling Han to burst into laughter. Wasn't her ankle twisted? How could she run so swiftly? This performance was far too unconvincing. On the second day, it was Li Xichan's turn. Oh yeah! As they walked, Li Xichan likewise stumbled and fell. Well then, her ankle was twisted too. Were you all taught by the same master? Ling Han helped her back, already certain this was his mother's doing. Otherwise, how could these two women be so bold? Moreover, they had known each other for 2 years. How had none of them ever twisted an ankle before, only for it to happen now? On the third day, it was Jushuan air. Ling Han sighed and said, You're not going to twist your ankle while walking too, are you? There had to be some originality. You can't just keep twisting ankles. There's no sincerity in that. Jushuan air was momentarily at a loss. This wasn't how it was supposed to go. Yet she was quick-witted. Pa! Her graceful body softened, collapsing toward Ling Han. You wouldn't possibly have the heart to let me fall to the ground, would you? Ling Han truly did not wish to catch her, but when he thought of the scolding that would await him if his mother found out, he had no choice but to reach out and protect this delicate flower, pulling Jushuan into his arms. Instantly, a splendid sensation surged forth, causing his heart to race without end. This was a woman of peerless beauty, one who could stir the hearts of mid-state prodigies even with her face concealed. One could easily imagine the terrifying potency of her charm. Ling Han immediately felt an uncontrollable urge. The longer he remained in contact with Jushuan, the harder it became to resist her allure. Just as he was about to push her away, the exquisite beauty clung tightly to him, her stunning form pressed close, making him keenly aware of just how captivating her physique truly was. Brother Han, she murmured softly, her voice low and full of emotion. Ling Han nearly suffered a nosebleed. A beauty akin to a celestial fairy lay in his arms, speaking in such a voice. If he truly felt nothing, he would be far too unmanly. Xuan knows there is someone hidden within Brother Han's heart, but Xuan does not mind. As long as Brother Han leaves a place for Xuan-Er in his heart in the future, that will be enough. Zhu Xuan-Er said dreamily. Ling Han's heart pounded violently. Were there words in this world more moving than these? He could never release Heavenly Divine Phoenix Maiden, even after 1,000 years. He still believed that after becoming a god, she might have lived until now, never once considering the possibility that she could have fallen in love with another. Under such circumstances, he could not possibly accept a second woman. This was why, despite years of interaction with Liu Yutong and Li Si-chan, he had never harbored improper thoughts. Yet Zhu Xuan-Er cast a vast net of tender affection, ensnaring him without haste or force. What a truly dangerous woman. Ling Han held her and said, "You may have to wait more than 100 years." This was no exaggeration. Returning to the heaven tier might be swift, yet advancing from heaven tier to shattering void, and from shattering void to godhood, such matters were uncertain. Still, 100 years was not a long time for such a journey. Xuan-Er is willing to wait, Zhu Xuan-Er replied softly. She would surely step into the flower blossom tier, granting her at least 300 years of life. Waiting 100 years would be akin to being merely 30. Moreover, following Ling Han with her talent, flower blossom tier would never be her limit. The spiritual infant tier, deity transformation tier, even the heaven tier and shattering void were all within reach. Since Zhu Xuan-Er herself was willing to wait, what reason did Ling Han have to refuse? If he dared to do so, his mother would surely whip him. Thus, this matter was settled. Ling Han held the peerless beauty in his arms. Neither spoke, as a gentle warmth spread quietly between them. Zhu Xuan-Er was exceedingly clever. She did not ask who that person in Ling Han's heart was, nor did she compete or compare. She simply fought in silence for a world that would belong to her. The atmosphere grew tender and sweet. "Brother Han, what is that thing hidden in your pants? Hard, and poking at Xuan-Er a little." After embracing for some time, Zhu Xuan-Er suddenly asked such a question, reaching out to touch it.